What's up guys, Azura here, and we are finally here to take a look at a deck from set 9, I think. Set 9, right? Yeah, set 9. And we'll of course start with the best deck of the set, and I think, in my personal opinion, the newest meta threat. Yeah, actually a set that I can introduce an actual meta threat now, Luard. But more specifically, we will take a look at the 0 damage variant of Luard. So if you don't know, there's like 2 variants of Luards running around. There's like a regular Luard list that just does okay things, like pretty solid okay deck. But then there's another list that's running around playing like that actually plays a game of damage deny, where you don't give them damage for a few turns, and then just try to ideally one shot them with 1 hit. But realistic speaking, that's not gonna happen every game. So yeah, but this deck is you're in a list where you don't give damage early to not give decks the ability to do things early, and then you slowly take away all the resources with Ogma, and then you just try to 1 to 2 shot them and 1 turns after that. So without further ado, we will on with the list. So this is the list that I've been playing. This list, the main deck at least, has been taken from the guy who on Twitter, which I don't remember the name of, but it is from that guy who basically showed the community this list. I just literally took the list and played around with it. I did change the G zone up a bit. I think my list is slightly different from his, but the main deck is completely the same. So without further ado, we'll go over with the cards. Starter is this 5K. I have no idea what the name is. The skill is honestly pretty whatever too, but you play it because it's anti-retire and because it's an extra soul, meaning you get 1 extra use of sword breaker. So skill GB, when this card's retired for the effect of one of your cards, you can put it to soul to give them the 5K. So power is cool, not too relevant, but it does let you gets you a card into soul and is anti-retire, so you have more or less guaranteed retire fodder. So pretty cool there just for that, but you play this because there's nothing better to play. 3 sword breakers when called from deck, so last one draw 1. Nice, it's a really nice advantage engine. This deck calls great ones out the ass very easily, so 3 sword breakers always nice there. 2 of the Brandwind, the Stride fodder. Search Claret is in the deck, but just a backup that you never basically want to ever go into, but it's there. But it is grade 1 Stride fodder, so Stride fodder is always nice. Next up, 4 Belial Owls. His skill is on play from hand, discard 1 card, search your deck for up to 1 card with Luard, and add it to your hand. So he helps you fix your ride, helps you grab the Luard ride. Occasionally use it just to grab Stride fodder or dump extra 1s in the deck to fuel Ritual. And his other skill is Ritual 3. So Ritual 3, you know how Ritual works. Basically, is for every grade 1 you have in your drop zone, that is 1 count of Ritual. So if you have 1 grade 1 in drop, that's Ritual 1, 2 Ritual 2, etc., etc. So if you have 3 grade 1s in drop, Ritual 3, you get to when this unit is retired from the effect of your Luard, retired for cost for effect for a Vanguard Luard, you can CC 1 hard ones per turn. So there's a lot of hard ones per turn on this, so if you stack multiples of this, you cannot CC more than once of this in a turn. So that's your little balancing for this card here, but it's still really good because it is a Luard switcher and it is a CC, so definitely max out on it. And next up we have 4 Ezra's, I think is her name, but this card got gutted. This card is definitely not nearly as good as it used to be in TCG, because it has PG, and then it has the line of text like the Neonectar one, where it says when this unit is used from your hand as a PG, it gets binded, so you can loop them. If you don't know how it loops, its skill is from drop zone. GB1 Ritual 3, return another copy of itself from drop zone back to the bottom of the deck, and retire 1 of your rears as you add this card back to your hand. So you can't just keep looping PGs from drop anymore, because once you use it, it gets binded. But you still play this because it is a grade 1, and because you can because it is returnable from drop to hand, you can use it as a sack fodder for the Ogma, because Ogma specifically needs you to retire grade 1s for its cost. So that's nice. It's played mainly for that. It's not abusable, but I do think having a tutorable PG is pretty nice. So it's pretty nice, and the fact that it is retire fodder for anything that's specified as grade 1. So pretty cool there. That's it for grade 1s. Next up, grade 2s, play Tuna Mains. On play CB1, discard 1, draw 2. Digging for cards is always nice. This deck rides and dies, but riding Luard and this cards can help you dig for the Luard. So pretty nice to have 2 of this here. 4 of this guy. His skill is on play, discard a grade 1 or lower. Check 3 cards, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card from among them with the lowest grade among the 3 cards revealed. So if you reveal like a 0, a 1, and a 2, you add the 0 to hand. if you reveal a grade 1, grade 1, grade 2, you add one of the grade 1s to hand, your choice. So if you have multiple cards of the same lowest grade, you get to choose what you want to add. If you reveal like 3 grade 2s, you can just choose to add one to hand. So this card's kind of a lottery effect early on, but later on in the game, you use this card to dig to your stack of crits, because the grade 0 crit here stacks up back to the bottom of the deck afterwards. So at some point, you do need to dig to the stack to actually hit it, so this card helps you dig for that. Helps you turbo Ritual early in the game, helps you potentially dig for the Bilal out to search for Luard, and later in the game helps you dig closer to your crit stack, because it is at the end of the day, it's just a free, quote-unquote free mill 3, because you discard 1, check top 3, add a card to hand, you break even in card advantage, but you mill 3 cards out of your deck. So that's why he's played. 3, Leafall, I think is his name. GB1 once return, Soul Blast 1, retire something in the same colors unit and draw 1, and then Ritual 3 is doing attacks Vanguard plus 2k. So solo attacker, pretty good. First skill, Soul Blast 1. Soul is kind of hard to come by in this deck because you Soul Blast 1 your Soul Breaker, but sometimes it's nice because sometimes you need a way to get the owls in the drop zone. You could just overcall it, but using this dude, it lets you Soul Blast, it lets you get the, you don't go neg while doing it. When I say owl, I mean the crit, but this card's cool to have, not amazing, not terrible, just kind of here. Has its niches, has its uses, but it's definitely not like an integral part of the deck's gameplay or anything like that. But Morfessa's skill is GB3, or GB1 Ritual 3. This unit attacks the Vanguard plus 5k, and GB1 Ritual 3. When this unit's attack hits the Vanguard, CB1 to call a grade 1 or call it a grade 1 from deck. And then its last skill that's not tied to anything, drop zone, it gets neg 1 grade. So neg 1 grade and drop means it counts towards being grade 1, meaning it counts as a grade 1 for Ritual. So very good, mainly for this last skill. Being a slow attacker is nice, being able to call grade 1 is nice, but it's mainly used for the neg 1 grade and drop skill if you will Ritual effects. So yeah. That's it for grade 2s. Onwards, finally, the triggers. 4 heal guards. Claire, I'm not going to go over these. These are kind of whatever. Claire, just here's a filler one of. Heal guards are heal guards. Luard is pretty relevant to go over, though, because he's your main ride, and you have to ride this card if you want to win. His skill is Ritual 3. At the beginning of your turn, you can choose to return 2 non-trigger units from your drop zone back to the bottom of your deck. And if you do, during this turn, you can stride for free. So, once you hit Ritual 3, this card checks for timing for this at the beginning of your turn. So, if you went second and you ride, you cannot stride for free even if you have Ritual 3 because Luard was not your Vanguard and you cannot check for the effect at the beginning of your turn. So, it does work if you go first though. Is you ride up, you do your vanilla turn, and then stride the turn after that. So, free stride plus deck recycle, and then his stride bonus skill on stride is CB1, retire any one unit to choose 2 grade 1s or lower cards from your draw zone and call them. So it's a +1. If you call Soul Breakers and stuff like that, it's potential +2. Yada yada yada. So yeah. This card is good because it lets you stride for free. And since in 0 you draw 1 from striding, you are actually going +1 every time you resolve the free stride effect. And if you use this skill, it's also a +1 and potentially more with something like Soul Breaker. So just by itself, it's a very card that's you plus really really hard. So very very good card and main ride for a reason. And finally, we have the Abyss Owl, I think. It's the grade 0 owl. Its skill is Drop Zone, GB1 Ritual 3. At the end of your turn, if your Vanguard's a Luard, put this unit back to the bottom of the deck, and then Rearguard Circle. And this unit is retired for cost. If your Vanguard's from a Luard Vanguard's effect, draw 1. So helps you cycle, and then at the end of your turn, when they all go back to the bottom, if you have multiples at the same time, they all go back at the same time. And at some point, you can dig through your stack of just digging through your deck really fast, and then eventually you hit a stack of all crits, and then you'll just start dropping crits every turn. So this card is what enables the really degenerate, like really low damage one-shot kills to opponents while after augmenting them. So this card is very very good, and definitely no reason not to play 4 of it. And that's it for the main deck. Finally, the G zone. Old stuff I'll just quickly skim over. 2 of each of the Spectral Blasters. This lets you kill from literally 0 because you can go like get the stack, swing, crit, restand, digitally flip a copy yourself, crit again, and you swing for 4 crit. Sometimes that's just enough to kill someone, so pretty cool there. But honestly, I think he's the least useful unit stride in this deck because I most of the time just go for Phantom Blaster instead because he's just easier to use. CB1, just get a crit. You can just actually for guard restriction, is pretty cool. So these 2 Diablos are your main finishers for the deck, and they only play 2 of each because you really don't have space to play any more of them. But yeah. Next up, 1 Carnivore Dragon. once per turn, retire one of your rear guards to retire one of your opponent's rear guards with priority back row, and then it gets 4K somehow. 4K power is relevant, but the relevant part of this card, or why we actually play it, is because sometimes you just use sometimes you only have one CB to work with. You use Luard strat bonus, sack one card off, call 2, and then you can use this to sack off your Abyssal Owl to CC, or whichever owl it was, the grade 1 owl to CC, and you'll CB again for next turn. So it's nice that it's an option to CC for free. So that's why I personally choose to play this card. That's one of. And then finally the GRs. I play 4 Drag Driver. His skill is Ritual 3 on play. Flip anything. Do not switch. You probably want to flip itself. You have to flip itself on first try, but flip anything. And then for every face-up copy you have of Drag Driver face up in your G zone, you can call 1 grade 1, and then that unit gains 1k per grade 1 in your drop zone. And then Ritual 3, GB 3 once per turn. Choose 2 non-trigger units in your drop zone, put them back to the bottom of the deck, and this unit gets a crit. So this card gets crit, pretty nice. Extra to get a crit, just to damage choke people even harder. The first skill being just a flood board is he's usually your first strike, because you use him to set up your board so you can Ogma for the following turn unless you super high roll with Ogma. But this card mainly uses a status stride and as well as a card that lets you just get a crit for free, pretty much. So pretty nice there. And finally, the star of this deck, the reason why this deck works, is the Ogma. Ritual 5 once per turn. CB1, flip anything in your G zone and retire any number of your grade 1s as a price water effect. And then for every 1 card you retire 1 card on your opponent's board. And then if you retired 3, you draw 1. If you retired 5 or more, you draw 1. Draw an additional 1. So if you retire 5, you draw 2. 3 or 4, you draw 1. So it's that. And then finally, at the start of your opponent's turn, they discard cards from their hand equal to the number of cards that could not be retired from his effects. So I know, again, it's going to be confusing, but how this works is basically, if you retired 5 and your opponent had an empty board, they discard 5. If they had 1 card and it got retired, they retire 4, etc, etc. Anti-retire cards do count as quote-unquote being retired, so they do not count towards as not being retired from its skill. However, resists do count. So for example, if your opponent's board is let's just say 1 resist and 1 anti-retire, Ogma for 5 means they would have to discard 3 cards, because 3 open rear, that's pretty easy to calculate. 3 open rears meaning 1 per each, and then actually it'd be 4. Remember, I'm bad math. It'd be 4 because the anti-retire counted as quote unquote being retired, and the resist doesn't because it got reflected off. So if a board of 1 anti-retire plus 1 resist would mean discard 5 if you Ogma for 5. So that's how this card works. So basically, the game plan of this deck is you damage choke them until you get to Ogma. You Ogma them. You make them dish a bunch of cards out of their hand. You maybe push for 1 or 2 damage, and then after that, you just try to just get to your crit stack as fast as possible and you just kill them. So yeah, I know it's very complicated. I think explaining this deck will not do this deck justice. I'll have some gameplay for you guys after this. As per usual, showcasing how this deck works. A little bit in advance, this deck I think is actually very thought-provoking. I think this deck is actually lots of actually requires a good pilot. Even I screw up on this deck a lot of times, but yeah. If you enjoy playing anything that's remotely like Zook, you'll probably enjoy this deck. So yeah. So again, I'll some games for you after this. As per usual, tell me what you guys think below about this deck down below in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.